coming straight to you from Berlin, and the draft is already quickly getting underway. Let's look at this, they're speeding through. Scant they've decided what they want to ban, what they want to pick, and it's a little bit different from last time. Fnatic still get their hands on the Enchantress, but MVP banned out the Invoker this time around.
Yeah, and they take themselves the bat, not wanting to give Ohio that bat route again, wanting to be the ones who get that advantage. They still take the Witch Doctor, which I think was probably the most valuable hero to their team in the parts of the game where things were going well. I don't know, maybe you can make an argument for the slaughter. But Enchantress, I mean, DJ's going to have it again, and MVP are going to need to go into the early game with a plan for how they want to deal with Enchantress this game. Last game it seemed like they picked Witch Doctor and they felt like that was just enough. We have a Witch Doctor, we'll deal with Enchantress. And even though the Witch Doctor did a lot when things went well for them, I feel like the Enchantress's impact in the early game was much, much higher. Even from level 1 before the creep spawn, just like bullying both supports alone. So, you know, maybe that goes down to the fact they pick a Phantom Assassin. If they have a Witch Doctor and a Lion and like a stronger, more present safe lane carry in that situation, then Enchantress maybe can't bully them as much going into the lane. So it could just be that that's the change MVP make this game, that they have a carry hero in the safe lane that's less susceptible to being like so completely shut down when the Enchantress rotates into its lane.
I'm wondering about this Venomancer ban. I've seen it once in Southeast Asia from Oh god. Asian Arena. Asian Arena was the team that picked it up, and they fifth picked it, and it seemed to be like against the lone druid in particular, but it also kind of rounded out their draft nicely, just a ton of magic damage. Is there anything specific you know about Venomancer for MVP?
No, not really. I think you're right. It's particularly good against lone druid, especially if you combine it with like a Ursa or something. The spirit bitch gets destroyed. I get like. OD is a hero that doesn't want to be venomous scaled. Like, it's definitely very annoying for you because you need to be able to move around, blink around, but I don't think that's, I mean, it still seems a bit peculiar. I guess the teams know something about each other that we don't. I mean, also the fact that MVP is banning Doom first phase every game, where from my experience watching these teams recently, they're the one that plays the hero more than Fnatic. I know Fnatic do play it, but it's just curious to me, especially because I don't know, I feel like MVP should know that Fnatic's going to first pick Enchantress. So do you think they're going to go Enchantress and Doom? Is that why you're banning Doom each time? Or do you think that they'd pick the Doom ahead of the Enchantress in a similar role? Because from what I've seen, Fnatic has been favoring the Enchantress.
Yeah, I'm really not sure about this like Doom first phase ban. It's an interesting one. Maybe we can ask some of the players later on exactly what's happening. We should have asked Fnatic the other day against TNC, but that was a little more obvious. In this series, it's a little more obscure. But third pick here for Fnatic. I can not go for 343's two favourite heroes, Vengeful Spirit and Oracle, both directly banned up against him. And of course, also because MVP have the Batrider. You know that 343 is spectacular on those two heroes, but you also don't want the swap and false promise cancelling out your Batrider lasso every time he jumps in onto someone. Beastmaster. Be the Beastmaster for Ohio now, so no lone druid. And I don't think Net plays safe lane lone druid, so we're still looking for something, like your Sven, your Juggernaut, your Gyrocopter for him, which have all been left open.
Yeah, pick of the Litzer for Net, and MVP on the other hand, I actually think this team looks best when they have Spectre. I think it's like the best carry for them to play around. They do really well with it. Both Q and MP play it very well, and they're very good at using the Haunt multiple times in a fight to like jump from one place to another and move the fight very quickly. Interesting that the Nature's Prophet is open. I suppose it's because they picked the Bat so early that Fnatic are like, well, whatever. You're not going to pick Nature's Prophet and Bat. It is possible. There are teams, for example, Alliance that loves to pick Nature's Prophet with Bat, but I don't know if MVP is the kind of team that would do that.
I definitely could if they wanted to, but I don't know, it feels more like they're going to aim towards their support hero at this point. Give something over to Febby. And there's the Lion for them. Extra disables, good at dealing with the Beastmaster, both Lion and Witch Doctor. They had this pairing in game number 1. You can see the strengths of it. Cask causes disruption, Voodoo Restoration keeps your cores alive, and Lion gives you that instant burst damage to kill off One of the cores on the opponent's side, and of course there's no Juggernaut here. So OD susceptible to getting chain stunned and killed off by that Lion plus a Spectral Haunt in. And they're just building this up so they've got 4 heroes that can go and battle early on. The Bat, the Witch Doctor, the Lion +1 can just go roaming around as 4 and alleviate the pressure a little bit from the Spectre on the safe lane to allow her to farm a little bit more, but also to create skirmishes and battles she can just haunt into. Well, Fnatic, the Gyro's there for net. They've got a lot of early game pressure and vision, and these lanes look so good for them. Beastmaster gives the Hawk vision. He's going to have to be a little bit wary about that bottom lane and maybe Iron Tangle jungle for a little bit, Ohio. But Enchantress for DJ, he can control mid. He can give OD a good lane while one support for Gyro up at top can potentially deal with a Batrider nicely.
Yeah, I exactly agree. The lane presence from Fnatic's draft is immense. They haven't even picked their like genuine lane support yet, but the cores are just so good at controlling lanes on their own. The Enchantress could help any lane that it wants to. So there's a lot of room for Fnatic to decide what they want to do. The Disruptor gets banned now too. So MVP have used all 3 bans on heroes that can sort of counter the Bat initiation. I mean, the Disruptor is not as effective because the Glimpse takes a while. Sometimes these pull do a bit, but it's interesting. I don't know if Fnatic will necessarily feel that they, in a sense, the OD already does that, right? Unless you're going on the OD's got the Astral, defensive Astral, which can sort of counteract the Bat initiation. For me, something that's Fnatic might look to here is a support that's got spammable spells, because you have that OD aura, and currently they don't have any kind of like particular synergy with it, which is something that's maybe overlooked sometimes with OD drafts, that you can abuse that if you're going to group up and push. Like you get a hero like Dazzle, you've just got infinite shadow waves, you can just heal forever.
Or the other side of the coin, Alina, where you've got infinite damage pretty much.
Windranger at your service.
Yep. So MVP go back for Windranger, so they're not going to have any trouble scaling in this game if the early and mid games contested well for them with the Windranger and the Spectre put together. Well, Fnatic, there's still that lane support, and it's going to be against a Batrider, so maybe that's also another consideration. Never mind the Bat initiations later. You want a hero that's going to be able to zone the Bats in the lane. Gyro can help, but your Gyro doesn't want to have to be coming towards the Bat all the time, wants to be able to farm. So if you pick a support that can't deal with the Bat 1v1, that means then the Gyro has to be much more actively involved in controlling the lane.
It's really cool for me, like the way my brain is looking at this. If this was a European game between like 2 CIS teams, I would suggest Ogre for Fnatic to just go and punch people, have the Bloodlust for your OD and stuff like that. I would be looking at MVP thinking Batrider is going to be mid against the OD. But because these are 2 very different teams with their own kind of defined role attribution across their players, it's quite obvious where they're going to throw these heroes. But it's nice just seeing the stark contrast between Southeast Asian and maybe European Dota in how drafts are constructed around players and around teams, especially between Fnatic and MVP. But I think it's going to be like in Europe. This could be potentially still an offlane. Oh, it is an Ogre. Damn.
It's an Ogre.
Nice.
It's an Ogre, so you got to trust your instincts.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because I'm looking at this and thinking Fnatic don't play Ogre. 343 doesn't play Ogre, but apparently he's going to play Ogre.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Fnatic isn't a team that's picked a lot of Ogre historically, but we don't know. I don't know. Do you know if 343 ever played it when he was playing in Terraring?
Oh, maybe that's what triggered my memory.
Yeah.
Maybe he did.
Because I didn't follow that team very closely. And the other thing also is that 343 is just an excellent drafter. He's just like a really fantastic drafter, maybe the best drafter that the scene has had in a while. Like I'm a big fan of AU's draft for TNC, but I've really been impressed by 343's drafting since he joined this team. I think that's made them look absolutely on form. And one aspect of a brilliant draft is that you see the best pick. It's like it's not necessarily something you've done or something that you usually do. You see the best pick, and then the conversation becomes, well, do we think we can pull it off? And seems like they've decided they can pull it off. Regardless, I mean, whether or not he's comfortable with it, we both kind of agreed it was the appropriate pick.
I'm going to go into a little more detail. Like, what does Ogre bring you here that no other support does? Is it just that he's tanky?
Yeah, so the tankiness is very important both for the lane stage and facing against the Batrider being able to trade blows, but it's also for later on that if Spectre does get farmed, it's a support that doesn't just automatically die. And then there's the Bloodlust, and there's the spell spam. We're talking about the abusing the OD aura. Well, Ogre Magi has lots of spells to spam once you grouped up later on, and often it is the situation where like, oh, he runs out of mana. That's the issue, and if he doesn't, because he's tanky, he's not being focused out early on in the fight, and because of the OD aura, he's just constantly throwing out all these multicasted spells. So I think it has lots of different synergies with the draft here, actually.
Well, QO is going to be over on this Wind Ranger at mid. It's been a while since we've seen this. Wind Ranger against the OD is going to be an interesting matchup. Of course, you've got the Wind Run to try and dodge ganks from the Enchantress. You've got Power Shot to clear out Creep Wave and control Equilibrium as you want it to be. I'm going to go for this top rune spot here and find the boar as well. With the cask out, they'll secure it. Nice little takedown there. DJ runs in, Earthspike is out, QO gets the bounty rune. And mid one, he's kind of walked into this. Ohio trying to battle through onto QO, but the Windrunner's there. Mid one running himself back out of this. The body blocks from Ohio, not going to be good enough. The Fairy Fire's out, but mid one, the miss uphill. He's kept himself alive, but not for too long. They'll clear him up. And MVP, they get top bounty rune, and Witch Doctor, Dubu, gets himself a nice little first blood kill as well. That's a disastrous start for your OD. Already behind in experience, already behind in lane control. And he's going to have to try and fight under his own tier 1 tower here. As QO shoves it back into him.
You know what? I think DJ would have said to them, Witch Doctor already used Cask, we can contest the rune. And the funny thing is that I think the reason they can't is because the boar is dead. It's like, it's difficult to see it that way, but it's like the boar is just as important to your rune contesting as the Witch Doctor's Cask is. Without that boar, it was just too easy for MVP to still just fight them off the rune.
3-4-3, he's trying to bully into this Batrider a bit, but he can't get close with his sticky napalms from Forev, keeping him at bay. And DJ's Enchantress making the long kind of walk of shame up towards top. Wildwing is already down, throwing a tornado out and giving Ohio maybe a little bit of an easier time. Still does have to contest though with Febby and Dubu here with their stuns and disables controlling him up. Difficult prospects until DJ comes back in with another creep. Spectre just getting free farm up here, securing a safe lane. Febby and Dubu have done a pretty damn good job of that, and DJ wants to try and, you know, unsettle them a little bit. Upset this top lane and throw the creep in towards MP, which he does with some pretty damn good success, and also force the creep wave under the tower, so it's more difficult for MP to last hit here. Maybe even impossible for him to do so, as the Centaur wraps in from behind. With that stomp and a couple of hits in, MP is not having such a great time, but not so great, as MP caught in the creeps a little bit, but Voodoo Restoration will keep him happy.
I really like this from DJ. Like, he does. I was gonna say he didn't find the Satyr, so it's like, you know, the unfortunate thing about Enchantress and Chen is that, like, you find a Satyr, you don't find the Satyr. It affects the early game a lot. If he finds it, they probably just win the lane right there. But he's like, okay, fine, I have one of the weaker early game creeps. I'm still gonna just use the fact that it's got the sheer amount of HP and run at the tower and harass and get under their skin. And I think that's good. I think that you'll sometimes see an Enchantress or Chen player going, okay, I didn't have the right creep. I'm just going to AFK and farm until I find it. But DJ sort of looks for opportunity to get the value he can, and he's actually got a Satyr Banisher now for the Purge, so this could make for creative play
man,
coming back.
This cask stuns back on. They've killed the boar as well in Ohio. Dagger slows him, but DJ comes back in, and you're right, with a little Banisher, maybe looks to purge up Febby here and make a go of it, but Dubu's the one that's purged up. Still, just no damage from Fnatic to actually kill anyone off towards this lane, while mid the Astrals keep coming out of the OD. Annoying QO a touch. 13 for 3 against 13 for 2, and this Outworld Devourer, he's still CSing very well, even after the disastrous start he had. Look at that. The Banisher dies, but you've put so much like emphasis on killing that little thing off. 16 gold, a bit of experience, but he's already purged you up a couple of times, dealt you a ton of damage. With that Enchantress right-clicking back into you. But DJ still needs his levels. We'll swing back for a nice little Hellbear Smasher here. And Forev flying across with the Firefly, which I don't see on my screen. Interesting stuff. I'm going to go in for this kill. Level 1 untouchable. It's not that great at the beginning of the game, and DJ slowed down with the sticky napalm. He can't turn, and with the Hex, he tries to Hellbear smash back onto the Batrider. The power shot's not going to land. The final right click's coming out of MVP here. They just need the Wind Ranger to make her way across, but here comes the Wind Run. QO stunned up, DJ still alive. One more right click up to the high ground is all they need, and they'll get it. The Dagger will secure the kill, and QO finds a regen rune. 3-4-3. might be in a touch of trouble here, but the Shackle will not latch to the back. Catch him. And the Astral saves him for now, but that's a secured kill over on the Ogre if I've ever seen one. QO can just punch him once, take him down, and the 4-man movement here from MVP secures themselves 2 individual kills.
It's such good recognition there, actually, from MVP that that's a play they can make. Because firstly, the dynamic on the map in the early game in a few lanes is not going right for them. The Enchantress has got too much free reign in their jungle. You don't want that to happen. It's able to harass the safe lane too much. The Bat was struggling in the off lane a bit more than the Beastmaster was. So just come off that lane and rather help your team being involved. And they make the appropriate rotation, and they really get a lot more value than they were getting by static laning the situation.
Oh my god, you guys in chat, not everyone can be called Jeff, okay? Not everyone can be called Jeff. What a lovely name.
I want to call you Jeff?
No, I don't want to be called Jeff, thank you. Do you want to be called Jeff?
I don't mind. I don't mind being called Jeff.
How would you spell? Have you seen it in chat? Did you see the spam?
No, I didn't.
How do you spell Jeff? Like, how would you naturally spell Jeff?
This is a trick question because you're probably gonna say it with a J, but I'm gonna say it with a G.
See, I say with a G. I would say with a G. Oh dear lord.
Alright.
Should pay more attention to the map and see the OD die. OG! OG. Well, I'm looking at Net. I was watching his rotation up towards top because he's going in for MP, but the dagger across the tree line will get him back to safety. Actually move the 3 of them up here. Ohio's obviously stuck around, but with Gyro and Enchantress pounding into this tier 1. And the 3 heroes mid looking for the tier 1 there. It's a really kind of weird musical chairs going on here.
Yeah, everyone moving around, dancing around each other. Here's Fnatic getting the slight upper hand on the map still. In terms of the last hits of their cores, in terms of the fact that they've taken down a tier 1 very early on in the game. And it's actually, yeah, it's a bizarre thing because normally you just early game you reference the scoreline and be like, oh, MVP are 4-0, so they're probably ahead. But it's to me it's more like if they weren't 4-0, they'd be quite far behind at this point. So it's good that they've gotten those kills so that they can sort of stay kind of even. And they're probably going to look for their Spectre to get level 6 and then move for some small skirmishes or ganks.
Oh, this is a big rune for QO. DD, and he's got his focus fire coming back up in a second as well. I'll get rid of that. Observer ward up on the high ground. Mid one, he knows that rune is over on the Wind Ranger. But Ohio and Net farming over into the dire jungle here. It's limiting the space that MP has to maneuver around. I don't know if MP actually knows that they're still sitting in here with the Roar plus the cooldown available. This could be a kill onto the Spectre if he's not careful. I mean, one misstep towards this creep wave. The line is drawn from Febby and Dubu saying, I don't know if they want to move towards that area. They know Ohio is there. They know that they're farming this jungle. Because they haven't shown anywhere else on the map. I'm just wondering whether they want to actually move themselves into that lane. Or into that region.
Oh, yeah, they're on their way.
Smoke up, walk past the boar. This boar was meant to give vision here for Ohio to see if MVP were contesting. And now with the Spectral Haunt forward, Ohio spotted. Net as well, the shackle shot. Latches onto a tree behind the Beastmaster, and with the Roar thrown, maybe looking for a kill onto MP, but it's not going to happen for them.
It's really good that Net runs away there. It looked like he considered turning around, cooldowning, and trying to help, and I think he would have gotten himself killed as well. So at least they limit the damage there, Fnatic. Interestingly, Ohio is rushing a Vlad's in this game on Beastmaster. It's something I have seen once or twice recently. Some Beastmasters going for Vlad's before the Necros. I'm not sure, like, is that just... I wonder if, like, in some sense it seems like it's the group up even earlier build, and in another sense it seems like it might be the farm the jungle build. I'm not totally sure which one it is here.
Blink for 4 hours, very close, yeah. Oh, Fnatic. Where are you going? They're smoked up, but they seem very unsure in which direction to head towards. They want to go loop around into this jungle camp. They want to try and wrap it onto the Bat Rider. Now they've seen Forever actually flash himself on this lane, and Spectre obviously is still pulling and hiding back in the jungle. The 3-man... It's an aggressive tri-lane mid. Febby, Dubu and QO have been sat mid for the majority of this game, honestly, while Forever is slowed down. On that bottom lane, there's no Roar though, and the TP coming through here is from the Wind Ranger, looking for the shackle back onto Ohio. It's not going to catch onto anything behind him, while Forever just fireflies over the trees and far away. It looks like he's okay. The right click's coming through, not going to be enough while the Ogre dies. The cooldown's good onto QO though, and this Wind Ranger's in a ton of trouble. The Rocket Barrage will clear him up, and Net secures the kill.
Well, that'll learn ya.
That's not the kill Fnatic were going for, but they'll be even happier with that kill than the bat kill, especially considering that he'd finished his blink anyway. They wouldn't know that, but as a matter of fact, they weren't going to get that much value out of killing the bat. They get a lot more value out of killing the Wind Ranger.
Dire's structures are fortified.
But what's up with the tri lane mid? Are you just trying to shut down the OD as much as you possibly can?
I suppose. I don't know. It's very peculiar. Maybe it was just because they wanted to get the tier 1. And they did get the tier 1. So that's early tier 1s are big. There's a blink in from Faheb.
And the haunt forward. Febby wants to try and stun this one up, and he's going to hex Ohio. Beastmaster looks like he is going to be the one to fall. Ohio pops out a ball with his dying breath. Get the double balls out. In the meantime, DJ and Net, they have a cooldown and impetus damage here. Just wonder if they want to fight into Forev. There's the cooldown. Net pushed forward. The shackle shot's there. Forev lassos him up as well, but Net is caught, and now the cast bounces back onto him as well. And MVP get the 1 for 2. In the meantime, mid one has been farming up in the top lane and finally has himself treads.
Yeah, trade's still very good for MVP. They're probably going to get another tier 1 off this. And these are the important tier 1s actually. So Fnatic have killed the offlane tier 1, but MVP are going to have killed both their offlane and their mid tier 1.
And this is like an unmolested Spectre. 104, Urn, Phase, Quelling Blade. No one's really stopped MP from farming too much. He's behind the Wind Ranger, just because QO has had such a spectacular start to this game with the kills and assists he's got. But we've seen Spectres come back from situations where they've gone like 0-4, they've got no farm. Well, this is the complete reverse. It's just down to MVP really consolidating what they've got. But now you look at the strength of Fnatic's draft. Bloodlust is up onto the OD, the Raw back onto QO. He popped his Wind Run before this has happened, but he's already dead. Doesn't stand a chance of running himself away from this. You've got Bloodlust, you've got Vlad, you've got Auras, you've got everything you could dream of here. And Fnatic, all of a sudden, they burst out with this massive amount of damage and survivability.
Yeah, and I feel like that's got to be the plan behind rushing Vlads on Beastmaster. It's that they're going for earlier timing. Allows them to fight earlier, push earlier, even take this early rush, potentially. And MVP can't let them do this. MVP needs to try and do something. I'm not sure what the play is, but maybe it's just the Batrider trying to...
Lasso in. Forev still stunned up though, and he doesn't drag anyone back. Did he lasso the poor little Alpha Wolf? Well, regardless, the Haunt will come through, and MVP, they're trying to fight into this one, but Ohio still standing here. Net with a cooldown, going to land onto Febby's head with Dubu as well. The shackle shot doesn't latch onto anyone. Look at the damage up from Net! Cliff through Febby. The good stun back into Ohio, and this Gyrocopter is not going to be enough just yet, as DJ clears up another. Ohio barely burning through to the urn, but it's still the damage output and the stuns and lockdowns here from Fnatic, keeping everyone from Fnatic, from MVP controlled up, except that Spectre, who chased the Gyrocopter down over towards the west, while QO turns to fight, but doesn't stand a freaking chance. DJ's Enchantress just absolutely annihilates them all.
Forever's back, and all of Enchantress is out of mana, so I think they might get 3-4-3 now.
They can't chase the Ogre.
He's an Ogre. He's just got all that regen, he's super tanky, and even without mana, he's just fine. MVP are hoping they could finish off the rush now. They really don't have great rush killing heroes, but they know rush is really low, so they're just going to try and go for it. And
Desolate's
it's a
pretty
big
good.
gambit.
Level 4 Desolate's pretty good against Roshan, and it will secure MVP, the Aegis Immortal, onto the Spectre. A 3-man impale there, mini Ravage out from Febby. Allows MP to escape over the cliffs as well. That was an 800 swing there for Fnatic from just the team fight itself, but I think it's balanced itself out with MVP getting Aegis and the Roche kill. While Spectre, of course, still unkilled. 205. Drums Urn, and what's that? A lasso on bottom lane. Hello Net. Shackle shot's there as well, and this Gyrocopter completely out of the realms of safety. No one was nearby to keep him there.
Yeah, he's having the opposite game in some respects to the Spectre. He gets caught out quite a lot early on for a Gyrocopter. Speaking of being caught out, DJ's been caught out a bit here too. This might be dangerous for MVP though.
Oh, Febby tried the 2-man stun. He only catches one, and MP's roared up, but he's still got the Aegis Immortal. Turned back with him to shots, and DJ takes down the Spectre once. This might be MVP with a Haunt, looking to fight through this mid one. Oh, there's the damage. Haunt forward, jumps himself away. The shackle shot back into 3-4-3, catches him as well, but MP still dropping low from the shots and the stun. MP's dead. Eclipse comes out of mid one just to make sure. And MVP, they thought with the Aegis of the Immortal they could push forward and play aggressively. Just wasn't the case.
Yeah, a little too much, I think. Lion didn't have ulti, Witch Doctor didn't have the mana for the Death Ward, so the damage output is just lacking on MVP there. And with lacking damage output, this is not the fight that you want to take, I think. I want to go back though to the rush, this is something I've seen MVP do in particular a few times in recent matches. They're really, really good at identifying when it's just not acceptable for the enemy team to get rush, and they'll just. It looks like a situation where they can't contest the rush. They go in, they lose a lot of heroes, they have to like buy back heroes a lot of the time. Very often I see MVP just make commitments that look unreasonable to contesting the rush pits, and then they end up actually succeeding in getting the rush themselves. And it's every time I've seen it, I felt like at the end of it, it's worth it. So I'm a bit more unsure of myself these days when I see MVP contesting a rush, even when it looks like it's not a healthy contest to go for.
MVP trying to go into this Radiant jungle, but there are Hawks. There are nasty, nasty heroes around as well, and that smoke.
Fabi's got a blink.
This observer ward from MVP might pay off here. The Hawk will get revealed. And Fnatic, they've got to know that MVP are closing in on this one. The blink, the lasso onto 3 for 3, but the roar back onto QO. He doesn't win run, and he barely gets it off. Escapes back with the shackle shot back onto 2, but he's still taken out. Net will clear him up. The death will drop in the back end of the fight, but MP still trying to battle through this one. Taken out of the game as mid one absolutely destroys him. And MVP, they have walked into the meat grinder here.
So, did you see what Fabi did? I'm really confused. He blinked in and he stunned the Enchantress's Centaur. That's all he stunned. And this, I mean, there were like 3 heroes clumped up on each other to the right side of the fight, and to the left side of the fight there was like this creep. And he blinked and he stunned the creep. And I just feel like maybe the fight's quite different if he, lands one of those Ravage Impales on the right hand side of the fight.
It was like
where all those heroes are standing.
Well, yeah, like all 3, 4 heroes standing in one big clump. That's just a perfect spot for an Impale there.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. So I was looking at him, just waiting to call it out, and he literally stunned only a creep. So I think he'll probably have said to his team, "My bad. Like, I didn't really like he used his finger after that, but his impact on the fight not what it needs to be at that stage in the game with that early blink target."
And what's QO got? Oh dear. I mean, QO with the spectacular start he had, now sitting very low on the net worth chart with all these towers and kills going the way of Fnatic. No Maelstrom yet. And Wind Ranger is a hero that you kind of need, especially if you're going for this build, you need to get the Maelstrom relatively quickly, and then you transition into Blink, your Aghanims, your BKB, and you just have these snap item purchases after every team fight. But QO has a long way to go if he wants that to be the direction he goes for, while MP, of course, with 1400 gold saved up, will be looking for that relic. If not, he'll go for the Yasha first, just to have the kind of incremental build, slowly get into the Radiance a little bit slower. Go for a bit more battle build a little bit earlier on, but Fabi's Blink Dagger, still waiting to see how exactly that plays out, because mid one, dragged back with the lasso, and with all these spells being thrown onto him, the OD really caught with his pants down.
Yeah, we did talk in the draft about how their supports, they don't have the save when it comes to the bats. The OD's got to be the save, but if the OD is the one being initiated on, obviously it's not going to be able to Astro itself. So that is maybe a weakness. Mid one can't be that exposed. If he's that exposed in the front lines, he's actually prime target for MVP to pick off.
Oh dear, Dubu. I don't know if you want to roar here. Well, apparently you do. Witch Doctor completely removed from the game, while Mr. DJ, this Enchantress, 6-1 and 7 with Phase Drums and Dragonlance, sitting pretty from that 4 spot. Now with an Alpha Wolf up as well. These Enchantress picks, I don't know, do you switch things up in game 3 if this goes poorly and just ban Enchantress against Fnatic?
I mean, they clearly know something we don't, right? I feel like they could be banning Doom for the same thing as the Enchantress, and feel like the Doom is actually better at being that 4-position roaming support. I don't know. I think it's something with...
Can you target bans against DJ at all? Like, is that even worthwhile? They've dragged Lasso onto the mid one again, and this looks like it's going to be another nice little kill. Mid one dies twice in quick succession. He's still trying to rush into that BKB.
Yeah, and this is actually very big for MVP. Like, I think they get a lot from these two pickoffs. They get a lot of space. Like, sure, they probably lose their tier 2 on the other side of the map, but the amount of gold that Spect has been amassing is very significant. And I'm not sure if he's going to try and go all the way straight for that Radiance at this stage. Might feel it's necessary. But one way or another, the fact that they, you know, we were talking about Windranger was top of the net worth, then it was like 4th from the bottom, and now it's all the way back 3rd at the top again. And that's just the space of 2 pickoffs that they've made.
Oh, Febby! Febby! Oh god, Ohio turns back with Aurora and Duper's gonna die as well. DJ, are you gonna kill off 3 here? He's chasing down MP, the dagger is not there, the buff is not available, and MP just getting right click down. 2 more shots from Impetus is all the DJ needs. Just keep the vision. That Necro Archer, 1 more, and he's gone. Triple kill and a godlike streak for DJ. Dear lord. This Enchantress Scant is single-handedly killing MVP.
Yep, it's just doing work. Both games from beginning to end, and he's not just godlike, he's been in 16 kills of the 17 they've made. Ohio, by the way, has been in all 17. That's like, what a beastmaster, right? These 2 players, they're just absolutely standing out. Baby does manage to set up a pick-off again on net, and it's funny because that's actually the contrast. I want to say that Ohio and DJ are doing heavier lifting than the actual carries in both of these games. You know, it's mid one and net who occasionally get picked off, who occasionally fumble. Ohio and DJ are just so on the ball, so involved all the time, and part of it is part of their plan, right? You go this Vlads on the Beastmaster. You obviously, a lot of the fights this game, it's almost like it's been sort of 5v5 from the beginning of the game. There's very few fights that don't have sort of 6 or 7 heroes across both teams involved in them, but it's DJ who's the one who's not died at all. He's died once right at the beginning, but since that early death where he got chased out of the enemy jungle, he's got 9 kills in a row, no deaths, constantly involved, and they need to start taking the threat of DJ a bit more seriously.
Now, remember how yesterday we were talking about supports tanking the gank, and prime example was TNC against Fnatic, where AU's Vengeful Spirit was just putting himself into these just very forward positions where it was obvious he was going to get smoked onto or roamed onto. It feels like Fnatic do that with their core heroes. Mid one and net, they're dying, but it's kind of reasonable and acceptable deaths, right? They're acceptable losses because on the flip side, while the OD or while the Gyro is dying, they're taking a tier 2 or they're taking a fight where DJ is getting a triple kill. They're getting a hell of a lot of value out of that one death of a core. And they're also not losing a lot of gold. You know, you've still got BKBs on your Gyro and your OD. You've still got this item progression going. While MVP, when they get picked off, when they lose, you know, a little skirmish or a team fight, they're not taking tier 2s, they're not taking towers, they're not taking Roshan, they're not getting the big trades. It's just, we kill one, and then we go back to try and farm a little bit. It's always the kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel for MVP, while Fnatic, they look for bigger and better things. And the bigger and better thing they look for right now is high ground and a tier 3.
They're definitely threatening objectives more, they're definitely taking objectives more, and MVP, I agree, they're taking opportunities when they can find them, whereas Fnatic are sort of deciding these are the opportunities we want. I still think that Fnatic are in a position and have been in a position where they can get the objectives even without the Gyro or the OD dying. So, like, I sort of agree with you that the trade-off overall is ending up being okay for them most of the time. I think that they could represent enough threat to just force down the towers and not have to say, go gank our OD in that lane and then we'll get your tower in this lane.
MVP, they're going to try and get some value here with the Roshan take and get Aegis onto MP. He does have his Sacred Relic and moving into that Radiance as quick as he possibly can, so Aegis actually goes onto the Windranger. QO feels he's a little bit too squishy, a little bit too fragile there on the Windranger, only 1200 HP. I guess that's the better choice. Spectre is a little bit tankier and a little bit more survivable with the dispersion as well. What's this? They're looking for Ohio, but he's already moved himself back. Necro 1 with the Vlads. And do you reckon we'll see the Necro 2 Blink build before Necro 3? Or do you just want to go and try and consolidate this and hardcore push with Necro 3s?
I think because he went to Vlads, he'll probably go straight to the Necro 3s. You don't want to delay them that long. Once you get to the point where the enemy heroes are farmed enough, they could actually just attack the Necros and kill them and not worry that much about that, you know, the damage they take. The necro timing becomes a little bit worse, in my opinion.
DJ, best player from Zimbabwe, confirmed. What's his score right now? 9-1 and 7. He needs one more kill for a Beyond Gold-like streak. And he needs 1,000 more gold for an Aghanim Scepter. Enchantress. Oh dear.
The interesting thing is that they've got Focus Fire, they've got Death Ward, they have Finger of Death. They actually, MVP have quite a lot of tools that can kill Enchantress. But they need to find a way to prioritize it, and the reason they're struggling is because Fnatic have this draft which says, we're all together, we have all this stuff, you have to deal with all of us. You know, there's the scary OD DPS, there's the Ogre Spam, there's the Gyro with the cooldown, the Rocket Barrage, the BKB, Beastmaster, all of his summons. Like, each of those things pose a big threat. And a lot of the time what's actually happened is it's been like, MVP kind of deal with everything except the Enchantress. Because it's so difficult to deal with, they leave it for last, but then it just wipes the floor with them at the end of the fight.
They've caught Net again here, but the TPs are coming through thick and fast from Fnatic. Oh no, they won't. They'll cancel. Mid one is the only one to complete, and Forev, actually with his blink up in 3 seconds time, the pings come out, they know the Firefly is there, but Mid one is already far enough back that he cannot be caught by the lasso from the Batrider.
And this is no objective trade at all. That's, the Gyro just dies. And I don't think there's a way for us to describe that in a flattering way. It's going to give space for MVP.
This was a good move by MVP. One of the first ones where they go from kill into tower and now maybe even get some more. Or maybe they'll get caught out.
With the Spectre's Radiance, I actually feel this is like... I definitely get behind this build in this situation. I feel like it's out of necessity to some extent. And it's something that helps him farm, but also...
Oh, they will come to the high ground, the roll back onto QO, he doesn't get his wind run off! Aegis is gone, and Ohio zapped down a little bit here with the Death Ward mid one, BKB's through it all, and with QO coming back to the land and living his Astral up and kept out of the fight. MP's having difficulty sticking onto a target, but it's still mid one, they're shackled up to 3-4-3! They stood up and lined it up! QO still dropping low, DJ will get hexed up, and his Beyond Godlike streak is under threat. 4M chasing him down, but on the back end is MP killing off the Ogre, while Net rejoins the fight at long last! Comes in to clear up, but DJ cannot get the third kill on the Lion. MVP. That's pretty good for them, but I feel it could have been a little bit better.
Oh, Fnatic having a moment of indecision there. That's what I feel. You know, they Astral the Wind Ranger after respawns and seemed like they weren't completely sure if they're going to back out or keep fighting. And that's how they get shackled together. And at the point they got shackled together, I thought, wow, okay, MVP are just going to destroy them. You're right, it maybe could have gone a bit better. Maybe the Wind Ranger gets out alive, but you can't afford that shackle. Simple as that. The shackle, then the lasso, then the impale. Once that shackle happens, it's Fnatic know they've pretty much lost the fight. They're trying to scrape whatever they can out of it.
Net, what's his next big item coming out? Lifesteal maybe? Potentially just the MKB to deal with this wind run from QO. But even Febby has an Ether Lens completed. 1200 gold saved up at the bank, and look for a Glimmer Cape or a Force Staff or something like that to maybe try and remove himself from fights once the Enchantress starts throwing these little spears out. This is another MVP chance to smoke up and go aggressively looking into this Radiant jungle though, because they know that if they keep applying this pressure and keep the fights away from their tier 3s and away from their base, Fnatic cannot transform and convert into big objectives. And catching 3-4-3 here with the damage output of QO, it's enough. Lasso back on DJ, they've caught the Enchantress, Death Ward is down as well, and DJ ripped to shreds, trying to heal up through it, but it's not enough. Mid one slams them down, and with his Sanity Eclipse, he might be able to kill off MP here, throws it, but not quite enough. MP sprinting away, the Hung Missile still chasing him down, but MP has the movement speed to potentially escape from this. The Urn healing him up as well, keeping the Spectre alive, while on the back end of the fight, mid one is going 1v2. The triple kill continues flowing, and QO Shackle Shot latches back onto mid one, but this Necro Archer is burning through him. The Maelstrom procs, mid one, one's up, but look at the wind run! Oh man, this is going to be a close one. Can QO blink? He can't, because of the damage from the Astral. Running himself back into the trees with the bottle charges. Now he blinks himself away, and Spectre did survive on the back end of that as well, because Net came to try and chase him down. The Shackle, oh, the power shot! The down! What? Where did the Maelstrom proc come from? Regardless, QO will die to Net. I didn't even see him throw an arrow, but the Maelstrom procced.
Yeah, that's a fantastic decision by QO to turn and stop his TP. I wonder if it was even a bait in the first place, because he was never going to be able to TP out there. Being able to take down a hero with him, the best value you could possibly get there. Yeah, I don't know. That's a fight that could go a lot better for MVP. Oh, sorry, for either side. Honestly, MVP get a good initiation. but Fnatic, they spent a lot of time chasing the Spectre. Like not a kill. The Gyrocopter chased off the Spectre forever in that fight, and I don't think that was necessary at all.
I didn't really see how much gold they got back from DJ's Young Godlike streak, because he did die. And I'm guessing that these graphs swing back into MVP's favour, and it's not much. 3k lead back to 2k. So, well, about a 4k swing from one point to another. While experience, there's been a gradual decline here. Now plateaus out at about 7,000 lead for MVP Phoenix. With the next Roshan respawning, you know, potentially relatively soon. Point of contest there. Who goes for it?
You look at Febi's line, he's gone for his signature Vitality Booster build. Normally we have this conversation because Febi normally when MVP is about to win a game just spams Vitality Boosters, and some people think it's just to like BM. But I've been wondering, like it's maybe just an efficient way to get HP, good value for money. If he starts buying more, I'll ask that question again, but I don't know if he turns this into ATOS or anything like that, or if it's just like, again, this is like, I'm a lion, I'm not going to get that much gold, let me just invest what I can, become a bit more tank.
I mean, Crimson Guard isn't a bad item here, and there's no one else that's really going to pick it up. I could see him going Crimson Guard, honestly. Against Necro units, against the Enchantress being annoying, just right clicks in general.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. There are options for it. So I can definitely get behind the buy, for sure.
You just want it to be
I just
spam
kinda
Vitality boosters.
Yeah, I just want it to be multiple Vitality Boosters to make a point that he doesn't only do it when they're like about to win the game. That he just thinks it's good. Maybe. I don't know, maybe I'm just talking nonsense.
Maybe you are. Fnatic seem a little bit uneasy though at this point, sitting back a touch, hiding behind mid one's OD.
Do you think they know about the Vitality Booster? Is that why
they're scared, yeah, of course. Like, they're sitting there thinking, oh shit, Febi's bought a Vitality Booster, they've won the game. We've got to sit back and play defensively now.
The Haunt is up, so that's a threat, and that's something, at this point in the game, when a Spectre gets this level of farm, you're always worried to take a fight when the Haunt's up. Unless you can start the fight on the Spectre. If they find a way to smoke onto the Spectre and begin there, that'll be really good for Fnatic.
Both on the mid lane ramp for themselves, but this Radiant Observer Ward gives vision across, and Ohio rolls back onto Febi, but a good Glimmer Cape from Dubu, re-initiation. The Shackle Shot not going to latch onto anything but boars, and now the Haunt comes in, and MP is actually in a spot of bother, but the cask is bouncing between them. QO finds the Beast Smasher on the back, and the Death Ward still taking down 3-4-3. The cooldown onto the heads of them, but over on the back end, MP! They killed off the OD. And now the chase continues. Net is looking for QO, but now it switches back, and QO looks for Net. He blinks the wrong direction, though, guesses incorrectly. The power shot not going to come through, and Net will just TP himself away. Well, DJ chased out by Forev. And MVP, the Vitality Booster works, Scant.
Yeah, I literally, I was about to say, they chased the Lion. They chased so deep to kill the Lion, and they couldn't kill the Lion. They got baited in. The OD dies. I mean, they only got him to about 500 HP, so it's not that 250 that saved him, but it's more complicated than that. You know, if you think you're going on a weak target, and your plan's just to finish them off before going to the next target, and they just don't want to die, that can make a difference to a fight. The Vitality Booster gaming is it's working.
Aegis and cheese. Yo. Yo. Someone take the cheese, please. Thank you very much. Kiro. I was a little bit worried about his progression. The, 17-minute Maelstrom? 15-minute Maelstrom? Whatever it was not that great of a timing. He's brought himself back pretty nicely this game. Currently ahead of the Gyrocopter in net worth, and Spectre 17,000. This is what we expected from MP. Untouched in lane, farming nicely, moved himself quickly from the Drum's urn into Radiance, and now, after the Manta, he's looking for that Heart of Tarask.
Yeah, and the game becomes very difficult for Fnatic now. It's also super important that QO finished the Axe. Like, I think that was maybe the biggest development in his build this game, even though he bought it only third. Just because of how important that is for them to make those kills, especially on heroes like Enchantress, and having the shorter cooldown like really helps to make sure that they've always got it up. I don't know, like I go back to the build and the way that Fnatic played early on, you know, rushing the Vlads on Beastmaster, going for the group up timing a lot earlier. I almost feel like when you go for that build and that playstyle, you need to make more happen early on. And now it's kind of like they group up, the power that they have to group up and force objectives is so reduced that I almost feel like if you go for the slightly later window with the Necro 3 Rush instead of the Vlads, like maybe
This is a slow defense, and it's allowed Forever to jump into the lasso back 3-4-3. The cooldown is good, and Dubu cleared up, but the Haunt back onto this. DJ Enchantress in the other end of the fight. 3-4-3 swiped down by MP. He's still got the cheese as well, but the Sunny's Eclipse tries to burn through their mana. He doesn't kill off Forever in the back though, and mid one shredded by QO's Focus Fire. The Spectre somehow died and didn't pop his cheese. But DJ. Oh, DJ, the blink forward. QO, he wants it, he gets it, he'll finish him off. Also will retreat as well. I don't know if they can go forward again.
I think they roared him at a really good time. I think that the Spectre thought that if he just waits this reality comes in after the BKBs, it'll be an easy fight. But they still had quite a lot of spells, and he gets roared, he gets... You know, the DPS is still there even without the BKBs.
QO might have to save his buddy here. Febby stayed around a little bit too long, cannot blink. Maybe he can in a couple of seconds. He popped the Ghost Scepter, but no, the damage comes out from the Necro units. Lion couldn't escape. They're looking to go back in here. Forever's ready with a Blink Lasso. Again, Necro Warriors up on the front lines looking for it. Lasso's there, but the Rocket Barrage damage back onto Forever. It's not something to scoff at. While Net pummeling into them. QO is going to lose the Aegis here with his BKB. That charge is gone. And MVP, they're the ones on the retreat. Does QO blink? He cannot blink. He's roared up and he's destroyed MVP. Massively overstepped their bounds, and the Flag Cannon flies across and kills off the poor little Witch Doctor in the end.
That was a truly bizarre decision by MVP. Like, I think that should be criticized, because Kuro was on like 100 HP. Yes, you have an Aegis, but you're near the enemy team base. They're all respawning, and his BKB had just arrived in the courier, and I think he was thinking, I've got BKB, we can go back in. But he had no mana. He had no mana. He couldn't ulti.
Would you call it a Tiga Dua Dua? Just say yes.
Yes. Okay.
Excellent.
I don't know what that means. I hope it's an alright thing to call something.
It's 3-2-2.
Alright. Well, I can't understand the decision there.
It was absolutely bizarre. And now Wind Ranger's dead for 30 seconds with no buyback. They'll jump in, try to play aggressively, but Forever's already stunned up, and Ghost Scepter's forward, but now the Haunt, mid one's already BKB'd. Ned is on the front lines, but with that magic immunity, he just doesn't really care too much, and that's a Haunt kind of wasted from MVP. They hold high ground, but there's no aggressive potential from it. Has this game just swung with that one false move from MVP?
I think MVP is still looking pretty good. They haven't lost any of their base as a result of that. They need to be more careful in how they take the fights. The other thing that was really big in that bot fight initially when the Spectre died is that the Wind Ranger wasn't soaking anything. It's like, if some of the heroes on Fnatic were concentrating on dealing with the Wind Ranger, the Spectre probably doesn't die, and they actually get value out of the Aegis if they use the Aegis while the Spectre's still alive. But because the Wind Ranger was positioned actually almost outside of the fight, had pulled out, when the Spectre goes in, it's just everyone focusing the Spectre, and I think that that's something that worked really in a really big way against them. Like, they've got a Wind Ranger that has a Wind Run, now has a BKB, doesn't have the Aegis anymore, but for the next fight they want both of the heroes to be posing a big enough threat. The Fnatic have to find ways to deal with both at the same time rather than one at a time.
Well, they'll look for the tier 2 towards mid, and with the focus fire from QO, it's pretty bloody easy. Interesting glyph there, usually indicating you want to try and defend this tier 2, but it's already gone, and now you don't have glyph for high ground, you don't have glyph for tier 2 top, more importantly I feel. And MVP realise this, they'll just switch themselves up to the tower. Maybe just delay tactics here from Fnatic. As they look to jump forward onto QO, and they'll blink with mid one as well. The damage up to the Glimkeep is there. QO's kept alive, but they've got reveal. The Finger of Death back onto Ohio, clears him up, and the cooldown lands onto MP alone with that nice little lasso. Mid one's cleared up, and Net, he's left alone. He is the only source of damage, but he can't sustain through it. The buybacks are available here from Fnatic. DJ chased the Shackle shot ready in 2 seconds time. They want to try and catch him with a stun as well. The Hex not in range. Febby won't be able to latch onto him. There's one buyback from Fnatic, the Gyrocopter. But MVP, suddenly, 6,000 gold swing without one engagement.
So, What's the justification for running out and jumping on them at the tier 2 rather than fighting them at your high ground? That's the thing that I find confusing. Like, the high ground gives you such a big advantage positionally in terms of getting that initiation. And I guess maybe the advantage is just they think they have the element of surprise. Like, MVP won't expect they're going to run out and go for them, but it just doesn't feel like the surprise factor helped in the match. I think mid one actually wasted some of his BKB before he even blinked in and was easy to be dealt with. MVP, yeah, absolutely back in control of this game.
And Beastmaster and OD not buying back there, even with their ultimates available, deciding that they just give up top racks and half of mid. MVP, that swing is massive. They lost like a 3,000-4,000 difference in net worth from the fight that happened bottom lane, and then they regain it times 3. And just absolutely skyrocket themselves to like a 17,000 net worth lead. What kind of items does this lead give them though? Because it's a lot of gold as a lasso. Oh dear. Nice Astral. Juba's dead.
Oh.
Over to the side though. I'll try and chase down Forever. The blink away from Febby. Allows him to escape from the Ignite, but Ohio, with no Roar available, cannot really catch onto or chase anyone down.
And you're asking what items it gives them. Well, Febby's actually bought a Soul Booster. That's what his Vitality Booster did, not a Crimson Guard. He's just got a Soul Booster. And I don't know if this is going to be just like his normal Vitality Booster, just like for the stats, or does he go for Octarine Core?
Oh, DJ, that's not where you're meant to be.
Yeah, the first game of this series, I feel like for most of the game, MVP looked less composed. Fnatic looked much more sure of themselves, what they're trying to do, and this game has been the exact opposite. This game has been from the OD and the Jar being picked off a lot to this jump at the tier 2 here. I mean, MVP themselves have made some impulsive moves, but in a sense in this game it feels a lot more to me like just sort of your classic QO, okay guys, I want to fight, and we're going to fight, sort of, and that's what happens. Whereas Fnatic as a team, in terms of like the overall composition, what they're trying to do, it could just be because they're up against a lineup that outscales them in the late game, and so they're just feeling under pressure, and that's why they're losing their composure. But they've started to look much less together than MVP.
And Forev, well, your initiation's cancelled out a little bit there, but the Ghost out the back, and QO has found Ohio. The Beastmaster still roars down the Wind Ranger, and Net is attempting to pummel into him, but QO's going to escape regardless. With MP being so tanky up on the front lines, he doesn't care. He runs forward. He's going to clear up mid one, but the Death Ward drop. Dubu will help secure that one. And buyback's available here for the OD, forced to use it. Mid one jumps in, but the Astral, I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything here. Febby Ghost scepters himself away from a little bit of damage and forced staff back by Mr. Dubu. It's going to be mega creeps though that Fnatic have to kind of deal with now. From 30 to 39. MVP, it looks like they're going to be able to take game number 2 here. Net stunned up. Astral to save him, but in they jump with the nice little pop of the Manta Star there. Mid one's gone and Net as well. MVP will tie up the series 1-1 in its best of 5.
Yeah, and I still don't think, I don't know, it feels like Fnatic just missed a window in this game. And we go back to, you're talking about when the Jara and the OD get picked off and the rest of the team's pushing a tower. But I got to ask the question, how much better would it be if they're killing the tower without those heroes dying? If that like allows them then to go beyond the tower and go for the next tower, go for the high ground. Because there was a window if Fnatic looked really good. They looked almost unstoppable with their group up. I mean, they're only like 4 or 5k ahead, something like that, but they had a really powerful 5-man, and MVP had heroes dependent on farm that didn't have the farm yet. But after MVP survived that window of the game, one Spectre gets to sort of Radiance, then it just starts to feel very, very difficult for Fnatic's composition. I mean, this is a game where we were talking about, do MVP have to ban the Enchantress? The Enchantress is doing so well, the control's so good, Ohio and DJ are doing so well, but that part of the game where those were the main facts about the game just ended. And then all of a sudden MVP looked great.
Absolutely. QO 20 fantasy points, that's the stat that matters of course. The flat 20, looking good there. MVP though, 1-1 in this best of 5. Now, how many games have we got left? We'll find out after